It's time! Streaming live from Cleveland, Ohio, presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world, the Big Play Reflog Show!
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I know damn about it. Attack by Chuck. To the 10. He's still running to the 5. He dips outside for victory. Touchdown. Sugar Run. Release one. Away. Back to goal. Here it is. You're doing those baseball.
It's time! The Big Play Reflog Show!
All right, welcome to the Big Play Reflog Show. I'm Gabriella Cruz. I'm hosting today, a little bit different today. We've got Nick Padone in the house to my left here. Give him a little shot. There he is.
What's going on?
Hey, you're looking good.
He looks so happy not to host.
I know. I don't have to keep track of any time. Gab's got the time down, and all I have to do is sit here and talk.
Don't worry, I got you, bro. Look at this Garmin watch. Let's try to get them on our team too. Big Play Dave, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you, Gab?
I bet you guys missed me, didn't you?
Yeah, welcome
Yeah.
back to America.
I'm just kidding. No, I really did miss you guys. I literally missed a meeting yesterday as well. My busy. I don't even know what day it is. All right. Well, listen, guys, we have two really important featured interviews today.
I'm here also.
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way. To let everybody know. Hello. On my show.
This
I
was
am
just
here.
a little bit of an April Fool's joke. That's all it was. Where are you? I'm sorry. Couldn't see
There he
your
is.
shot. Mr. Chris McNeil.
Chris, we're twinning.
We are. Same shirt. Geared up for the Cavs playoff. By
That's
the
cute.
Fantastic Cody Draws put us together a couple of nice Cavs shirts for the playoff run.
Heck
so
yeah.
we're all set, outfitted today.
Chris, I feel like you're always on the same wavelength as somebody. You're always matching a shirt
know.
with one of us.
I'm just on a mode to twin. What can I say?
You're looking good, gang. As I was saying before, I forgot about Chris, the main character in this entire show. We've got.
Utility, man.
It's just I'm too excited. We have Mark Price in the waiting room here. We've got Cavs legend Mark Price we're gonna chat with, and then we'll talk Guardians home opener with our friend Joe Noga. Then we're playing this game called Who Tweeted It. So that's new. This is kind of fun. We try to guess who tweeted a random tweet from this past week. So we throw them up there and they're blacked out, and then we try to guess. Oh, I did this a little backwards. Anyway, let's just get into it. Shall we bring in Mark Price?
Yes. For 3,
There it is.
2, 1.
All right. Welcome back. We've got our featured interview brought to you by Labatt, NBA legend Mark Price. Oh, do I see him? There he is. You showed up on our screen a little bit late. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. We're so excited you could be with us. I'll kick it off for us, you guys. What advice would you give to this young team? You know, this is the first time for many of the Cavs players to be making a playoff appearance.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. I think back all the way, and it's been a while, unfortunately, but all the way back when we were a young group coming into the Cavs, and our second year making the playoffs for the first time. And people talk about the playoffs being like a different game, and it really is. And there's only one way to get that experience, and that's by getting into the playoffs. And although they got in the play-in game last year, it's still not quite the same thing as being in a series and a 7-game series and having to learn, how to make adjustments on the fly. You're playing the same team. They know what you do. You know what they do. How do you execute? How do you get an edge? It'll be a great learning experience for these guys, and I'm excited about watching them play.
Mark, first of all, you don't seem to age. I'll tell you what, I hope that someday I've got genes like yours where I'm able to age as gracefully. You look great. You look like you could almost play today. But take us back. Go ahead.
Looks could be deceiving.
I'm sure you still got the shot, right?
Well, if you spot me up in the corner, I'm good. I'm not going to play any defense, and then I can make free throws. So maybe you can find a place for me sometime.
And that's an art. I'll tell you what, that's sometimes a lost art. Is your free throw ability was always amazing. I think you had a record at one point, didn't you? You made for the season almost 100% of all your free throws.
Well, I never got quite the highest one season mark, but I was really close. For a 2-year stretch there, I shot over like 94% from the line for like 2 years straight. But yeah, I was number one in history for about till Steve Nash came along and Steph Curry. So I'm sitting at third right now, but not too bad, I guess.
Pretty incredible. So we were talking playoffs. So take us back to your first playoff experience. What are some of these young guys going to be going through, and what did you specifically remember about the difference between the regular season and that first playoff game that you played in?
Well, I think particularly being a young team and the first time experiencing it, I mean, you're actually nervous. I mean, here you played, 82 games or whatever, and a whole season under your belt and a couple seasons. And yet, I mean, you kind of feel like the first time you've picked up a basketball, like, that it's just the butterflies are churning in there. It's just there's something different about it. The atmosphere, the excitement, the anticipation of what's going to happen and who you're facing and all the preparation. It's just an unbelievable experience. And you hope that every guy that ever puts on an NBA uniform gets opportunity to be a part of the playoffs, because it's just something special and so much different than the regular season.
Is there any particular moment that stands out for you in your career that you can remember from the playoffs?
Well, there's a lot of moments, some good, some bad.
Yeah.
And everybody knows what the bad is that I'm talking about. We don't have to get into it. But
That's right.
But one of the great ones for me was the year we were in the Eastern semis and Larry Bird's last season.
Yes.
And we actually went 7 games, won it at Richfield. So I get to tell people all the time I ended Larry's career. So that's a great memory for me, and being a part of that series. It was a great series, and getting a chance to play in the last game Larry Bird ever played, and that's pretty cool.
Mark, Darius Garland was so good for the Cavs last year, and it feels like this year had to probably change his game a little bit to play with Donovan Mitchell, another superstar in Cleveland. How difficult do you think that was for Darius to kind of back off into that secondary role in the backcourt with Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah, I think it was. I think everybody was kind of interested in seeing how those two would be able to work together, because you got two ball dominant guards. I mean, Darius is at his best when he's got the ball in his hands. Donovan's at his best when he's got the ball in his hands. And so how do you mix that up? How do you share it? How do you take turns? But obviously they've had a great season. They've been able to figure that out. And adding Donovan Mitchell obviously was huge for them. He's that guy that he could be the separator for them, going into the playoffs. And if there was one knock on our team as we went through the playoffs those years, particularly after we lost Ron Harper, you kind of have to have that one guy that can maybe when things aren't maybe going so well, that could take over a game. And Donovan Mitchell's that kind of guy. I mean, I don't know how many 40-point games he's had this year. I think the last 3 games he's had 40 points.
3 in a row.
So he's like he's on fire at the right time. That's what you want to have. You want to get hot at the right time. And, I like the Cavs. I think they have a good shot. The Eastern Conference is good, but I don't think there's anybody out there, if they play well, they can't compete with and be right in the mix. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond with their first playoffs. Donovan does have a little bit of experience there where the other guys don't, but so he's going to be a huge factor for them.
How much does that matter, Mark, to have Donovan, who is their superstar that could take over games? How much does that matter that he's been around the block and has played in the postseason before when he was with the Jazz out west?
Well, it means a lot, because he knows what it feels like, what it looks like. He can kind of pass that on to the other guys that are there. But also, it's if the game's tight and they need a guy to take over at the end, I mean, they can get the ball to him and say, "Go do your thing." And that's such a nice weapon to have, particularly come playoff time.
The other facet of this team that I think makes them so strong is kind of that team chemistry they seem to have, Mark. And you guys had a little bit of that back in the 90s. Talk about the role team chemistry played in your teams back then.
Well, it was. I mean, our teams were so great. We were so loaded across the board. I mean, all stars at different positions: Brad Doherty, Larry Nance. I was at the point guard position. We had Ron Harper at the beginning. Then Craig Elo kind of took over when Ron left, and Hot Rod Williams. And so, we went into a game and we tried to find out what was going to be the advantage for us that game. And we tried to, guys didn't have egos as far as, hey, man, I want to be the leading scorer every night. I mean, if Brad was the guy that was going to give us the best chance to win that night, we were going to feed him all night long. Sometimes it was me that had the advantage, we felt like. And so those guys would set screens and run me off screens all day. And we try to win it that way. So a lot of it depended on the matchups, who we were playing, where we felt like we had the advantages, and we would just go to that. And everybody understood that. And it was about winning for us. We didn't really care, what the stat sheet said at the end of the day. It was all about winning games.
Mark, you're talking about advantages. What's the advantage of playing at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse? We've talked about on this show how great the Cavs have played at home, 31-9. What's it like playing at home in our atmosphere?
Oh, it's great. Getting the home court advantage is huge. I think over the years you can see the winning percentages at home and on the road in the playoffs. And so to have that extra game, if you need it at the end, it plays a huge part. But yeah, particularly for a young team, I think the crowd and being jacked up and loud and get the juices flowing for these guys when they get out on the floor, I think that's going to be a huge help for them, particularly the first couple games that they're going to have. They're going to be at home. So being in the 4th seed. So that should be exciting, and hopefully kind of get them through that nervousness early. The crowd can pull them through, and playing at home, they'll be in their comfort zone.
And Mark, I don't know how much you know about Big Play here, but we added a new show here recently with former Cavs great 3-point shooter, Boobie Gibson. And I'm going to give you a chance to talk a little trash today.
Uh-huh.
Who would win a 3-point shooting competition between yourself and Boobie Gibson?
You really are asking me that question? I mean, I love Boobie. He's one of my guys, but I got 2 3-point championships. I mean, I don't know if Boobie's got one of those, but I'll just leave it at that.
Did I insult you with that question, Mark?
Well.
He's still a competitor.
He's going to unfollow me on Twitter now. He hasn't unfollowed me yet, but he's going to get off this podcast and be like, I can't believe he asked me that.
No, Boobie's a good shooter. It'd probably be a good match, but I'd still give myself the advantage.
Do you still play any ball, Mark? I'm curious. Do you still got it? You're talking a big game now. So do you play any pickup at all?
Oh man, now we're really going to try and offend him here.
I know. I just want to.
I was talking about how young he looks and everything.
He does. He looks the part. That's what I'm saying. What league are you in? How can we come see the show?
Well, I don't even want to get into my age, but let's just say the knees don't cooperate like they once did. But, get me in a 3-point shootout contest, a free throw shooting contest. I'm in. I'm in all day long.
All right, Mark, I think once you come up here this summer, we're going to have to set that up. You and Boobie will down here. We moved in our studios down at Burke Lakefront Airport, and we will get a hoop out here in the lobby, and we will let you guys play a little pig or horse.
That'd be good.
Well, Mark, I know you're giving, some student athletes a chance to learn a little bit about the game, a little bit about shooting. Maybe you could throw our guy Reflog a little help there too. Tell us a little bit about your youth camps that are coming up and how people could get involved with what you're bringing back to the city.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Last year I started doing some camps in the Cleveland area. People have been kind of after me for years to be able to do it, but with my schedule, either playing or coaching and things like that, I just never had time to pull it off. But last year we did 2 of them, one in Avon Lake, one in Medina, and they went just great. I mean, the people loved them. Had a great response to it. I had 3 more people want me to do them this year, so we got 5 of them this year. We're adding North Olmsted, Hilliard, Ohio, near the Columbus area, and then North Canton area. So, it's growing. I'm excited about it. Gives me a chance to get back up to Ohio and teach the game to youngsters. Really, really good turnout. And I tell them I'm there. I'm not one of these guys that does camps. I show up the first hour and you don't see me again. I mean, I'm there for these camps. I'm working with the kids, spending time, trying to teach them, giving them the tools that help me be successful as a player. I was 5'11" and 155 pounds coming out of high school. And so, a lot of these kids can relate to me and say, hey man, if you could do it, maybe I can. Let's learn. It's a great opportunity to learn. And like I said, leave with some tools that can help you become a better player. So anybody's out there and listening and have kids, you can go to markpricecamps.com. It has all the camps listed on that site. You can sign up right then and there, and we'd love to have you this summer. The people, like I said, really enjoyed it. We had a great time with the campers, but we work them. I mean, they learn. It's not one of these camps we just roll the ball out and they're playing pickup ball all day. We're running skills and drills, and that was one of the comments from the parent. Man, they're actually tired when they come home. It's like we're like working them, but it was awesome. And it's a lot of fun. So
Mark, that was my 11-year-old's question. So we're gonna do the North Olmsted one. I see that it's up to 16-year-old, so he's gonna be one of the young guys in there. I was going over the schedule with him, and it was like 2 hours of skill training. And he's like, "Wait, what?" So, but what goes into the skill training, just so I can set his expectations here?
Well, we just we have different stations. They'll each be going a certain amount of time. They rotate them. We have our different coaches. My son helps me run the camps and everything, and so. We're teaching these kids. We want them to learn the fundamentals. We want them to learn and be able to have something when they leave that camp. They can, if they just, lock into 2 or 3 things over the course of 3 days, it can really help them improve their game. And if they'll go home and practice. And now, Dad, that's your part, man. You got to get them out there practicing, get them off the Xbox, and get them out there in the gym working on their game.
They just want to shoot the threes, man. Like, so as a parent, all of these kids.
That's my first speech of the day.
Is it? Okay. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I walk in the gym and they're all just out there jacking threes, and I'm like, oh dear Lord, man, we gotta teach the fundamentals around here.
Well, Mark, have you ever played as yourself in 2K? That's what your character does, man. You shoot threes on that game.
Yeah, well, the game before that, and then I'm showing my age again, was NBA Jam. Now I was like, Brad and I were teamed on NBA Jam, and we killed it. I mean, we killed that game. But it's funny. I never played the video games much, but my kids do, and I mean that's how most kids know me. They haven't seen me play; they just play with me on 2K.
That's awesome. Mark, thank you so much for being with us and letting us pick your brain and bruise you a little bit on 3-pointers. We're gonna hold you to it. We'd like to see you come shoot some threes with us, and we'll be looking for the update from Dave and the kids at your camps. But yeah, be sure to. We'll leave that website for you. We'll clip that off so that people can come check it out. We appreciate all that you're doing off the court now in your career, and we're glad you're giving back. And we hope that we can get some kids funneled your way. So thanks so much.
Nice. I appreciate it, guys. Always good to talk to you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Go Cavs.
Go
Cavs.
Cavs.
Pretty cool. All right. Well, we've got a stacked show for us today. We've got. Well, let's see. Is our second interview here today? Already?
I think
I don't see it.
I think he's still getting that makeup done in the back room. Is Joe Noga?
All right. Well, yeah.
I'll go check.
You guys just give me the green light on when he gets here, and we can tap dance in the meantime. Either way, that was pretty sweet to have Mark Price on.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and you could tell that's a guy that, like what he said, about being there with the kids, because my brother did a lot of these youth camps, when he was on his way up through the AAU ranks, and a lot of these guys, like he said, like you get into a pro camp, so to speak, and the guy is there for an hour, he gives a speech, and then he leaves, and then maybe he's there the last day of camp. So it is cool that Mark kind of sticks around the whole time and gives kids that firsthand advice.
I went to Austin Carr's basketball camp.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll never forget my first conversation with him. I was like kind of nervous and stuff, and I don't know if I was just being kind of weird chatting with him, but he's like, "Oh, you miss cool." You miss cool. So then,
he thought.
So then all of camp he called me Miss Cool.
Okay.
And then I got the nickname Shorty Doo-Wop, but I don't know. So I was actually really small
That's
for a long
fantastic.
time. Shorty Doo-Wop because I was always dancing.
Okay.
Like
Big surprise right
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
big shocker. I was a quick little fart back then, though. I was actually a ball handler before I got really tall.
Nice.
Were you a guard?
Yeah, point guard. Believe it or not, I was like the littlest kid. I was so quick and fast, and I just like would sit in my driveway and do all the drills from basketball.
Same.
I was like obsessed.
I love how they just look at the short kid and they're just like
yeah.
point guard.
You're just gonna do all
that's
the
it.
ball
Like
stuff.
you gotta learn it or else that's it. I went to Jim Chone's camp all growing up and it was cool. Same thing. His kids kind of helped him with it, and his daughter Kayla, who I believe played in the WNBA for a little bit,
Okay.
she was awesome, and a couple of his sons that played overseas. So yeah, the youth camp, Dave, your kids are gonna have a good time. That's fun.
Mark's gonna work them.
I know.
He's gonna work 'em.
I know. I do remember.
I'm glad
I was
to
wondering.
hear that they're still intense. To be
Yeah.
honest, because they ran their stuff like it was so intense.
Yes,
and
it
it was
was-
so competitive. Like we would do that thing where like you'd try to shoot from around the world and beat
Yes.
somebody, or you'd be on a clock and how many stations can you make the basket
Yeah.
in time, or there's all different kinds of drills and competitions, and it was like a place to get like humbled.
Yeah, for sure. And like that's the one thing that I remember is going home and just being like drained, but like at the
Exhausted,
same
yeah.
time like excited to do it all again tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, the around the world was fun. How about like the popcorn or elimination? I don't know what you guys
Right,
called it. Where
right.
I mean those games would be lined all the way back to the half
Huge.
court. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff with Mark
And then
Price.
and then one year you like miss a shot that's gonna like resonate with you for so long.
Till the next
For
summer?
me, I would all summer. I would just be like, I'm gonna be a beast next year.
I love Mark's low key intensity.
I
right?
know.
I know.
So good.
Yeah,
Just know your kid's going to get worked in that camp, especially when I bring up whether he's going to beat Booby Gibson in a 3-point contest.
He's like, "Are you serious?"
that was
Chris,
so
did you-
funny.
Did you see his
Wow.
face?
Wow.
I can't wait to text
He's not
Booby that
kidding
clip.
around. He
Oh.
definitely broke character for that one. man.
That was great.
I mean, he is very faith-based and very strong in his convictions, and he's also got an intensity underneath that, man. And you could tell right there, man. He will beat anybody at any time
Oh,
in
yeah.
any 3-point competition, no doubt.
I liked what he's like, well, I've got a couple 3-point championships. And he's
He
like,
went hardware
oh,
on me.
and,
He went
and then he's like, I don't know if Booby has those. he damn knew he didn't have them.
yeah, I don't know if he's got that, but you know,
Oh man, that was good fun.
so great.
Heck yeah.
All right, while we wait for Joe.
Yeah, what is
Yeah.
the
Joe
status?
should be
is
there.
Joe
Is he
in-
at Auntie Anne's right now getting like a pretzel on
Oh,
the way
yeah.
in?
Oh, did he say, Chris, did he say he's here?
We had to send
He's
him
there.
through
He's like taking pictures. He's in our
Oh,
lobby.
I'll go
so
grab
Oh,
him.
okay.
All right, Mike, you want to take over?
He's just going
check
through
bag
security
check.
one more
He
time.
he may be just getting his stuff off the plane there.
He's putting his car in the same valet as
Yeah.
Ricky. Remember that?
Right.
He has to put his shoes on because they made him take them off.
Dude, that's the worst.
I know. When in South America, they don't make you do that. They just ask you, "Hey, do you have scissors in your book bag?" And my friend was like, "No," and they were like, "All right."
Wow. On you go.
So nonchalant.
Okay, since we've got a minute, you've
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
talk a little bit about your trip.
Okay, yeah, because I was out of the country and I was so close to Antarctica, and it was so.
Now, how
nice.
long were
Oh.
you gone exactly? Because every time I was like, when's she coming back? Or have you been gone for like 2 months?
I know it feels that way because I'm such a joy to be around. Flattered.
exactly right.
I was gone for 12 days.
12 days.
Yeah. hmm
So give us the highlights. What did you do?
The highlights were Patagonia, you know the brand. I don't think a lot of people realize that it's a real place. So Chile and Argentina share it, and there's mountains and glaciers. You know, there's like not a lot of Wi-Fi, total cultural change. Learning the history was really cool too. We like toured Buenos Aires like towards the end of the trip, but in Chile, Puerto Natales, that's where we were for some of the stuff, and the glaciers and
I
things.
saw
It
the
was
glaciers.
it was
That's
pretty
amazing.
wild. Yeah. I mean, it's like speaking about it doesn't even do it justice. You got to go. I know people always say you should travel. You got to do it before you. they're right. It's incredible, and you realize how privileged you are, and it's fun just to see the wonders of the world. My eyeballs, I was literally doing that. There's a meme. Have you seen the kid who has like a book open and he's just like putting it into his brain?
Yeah.
Like this. I was out there just like going like this and putting it into my eyeballs. I was like, I never want to forget how cool this looked.
How excited was Blues when you got back?
Blues was freaking so crazy when I got back. Although he is spazzy to begin with, but
Yeah. No, that's
pretty
good.
psyched.
I'm glad he was psyched.
Yes. So
All righty.
that's us in a nutshell. We've got our second guest with us.
Freshly out of the makeup room here at Burke Lakefront Airport, the Big Play Studios.
All right, welcome to our second interview of the day, brought to you by Labatt. We've got the Guardians home opener on Friday, and as we prepare, we're going to shift gears here, talk a little baseball with sports reporter for Cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. We've got Joe Noga in the house. How you doing?
Excellent.
Yeah,
Great little setup.
Thanks for popping in.
Joe, what do you think about the setup there?
Do you hear Chris?
I hear nothing.
Oh, okay,
It's
sure.
working
That's
fantastic. It's a
probably
great
that
setup.
makes sense.
I don't hear a word.
Oh,
Well, then somebody can
It's
relay my questions.
probably the headphone spider web that's
all sharing
that's
a headphone
underneath
out here.
that's underneath this desk. But what Chris asked you, Joe, is what do you think of the setup? What do you think of the airport?
This is nice. I was telling Dave on the way in, I've lived here for 47 years, and I've never been to this airport before, so didn't know that they had studio capabilities.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Everybody, when they say they come here, is either looking for the Auntie Anne's or Jamba Juice, and we have neither of that, but we have this studio.
Yeah, sports book, a little bar action, a couple of taps, and you guys will be all right.
It's
Yeah.
got a lot of potential, you know?
Nothing
still
yet.
nothing.
So
We
All right.
will work
That's
on.
all right. I'll take this one off.
Honestly,
No.
I didn't introduce
Oh,
Chris
there he
today. I feel
is.
like this was the omen. Okay,
I
here
think
it
we're
is.
live. I can hear Chris going, "Oh man," in the background. So we're good.
Yeah. Now I got to do some work again. Joe, welcome to the studio.
It's great to be on. Great to be talking to you guys. I cannot wait for Friday because it's like the biggest day of the year for me personally. For what I do, it's you wake up early, you get the juices flowing, you ride that adrenaline all the way through opening day.
Well, let's start with what just happened in Seattle. How surprised were you? Obviously, Seattle has some high expectations this year, too. They're expected to be a good team. What was kind of your reaction? Obviously, the vibes were high opening day. They weren't able to pull that one off, but then to win 3 of 4 and take that series from Seattle, I was feeling pretty good, and it's got me jazzed for Friday, too.
Yeah, make no mistake, Seattle is a good baseball team. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're going to be in it, throughout the season. They're going to be pushing Houston in the West and being a contender for a playoff team, strictly because that bullpen itself is really good. And you look at what the Guardians were able to do against that bullpen this weekend, and it's pretty impressive. Scoring as many runs as they did, 16. I think 16 and 2/3 innings of work for the Seattle bullpen, and they might have scored something like 8 runs off of them, 8, 9, 10 runs off them.
Should we go offensive production real quick?
Go for it.
Mike Zunino, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
A catcher with what kind of potential do you think he has at the plate?
I think it's good to see. It's something we haven't seen in a long time. A decade since we've seen 3 extra base hits out of a catcher for Cleveland, and that was Carlos Santana back when he was catching. So Zunino has the
Kids out there
potential.
who didn't realize he was a catcher at one point.
Right.
Yeah, I had to take me back a ways to remember what Carlos Santana was like when he was a catcher. I didn't say much. It was a little different. But Zunino, once he gets settled in, I think you're going to see a lot more regularly. You're going to see these games with a couple RBIs, a couple extra base hits. It'll be good just to lengthen that lineup and get to turn it over again a couple of times. Just a little bit more production out of that spot in the order will be a lot more welcome for the Guardians.
We'll probably see a lot of Stephen Kwan talking about him again all year long.
Mm-hmm.
What were your impressions of him last year, and then what do you think this year has for him has in store for him?
I think he's got all of the tools right there. His approach is great. He's patient. He does things for his team from that leadoff spot, not just for himself, but he gives you 8, 9, 10 pitches in an at-bat so that the guys hitting behind him, Ahmed Rosario, Jose Ramirez, get to see what that starting pitcher has in that first at-bat. And if the at-bat ends in a strikeout, Kwan's not going to bat an eye. He's the ultimate team guy. He's going to pass it on to his teammates. I think what the Guardians coaching staff, what Chris Valaika and Terry Francona want to see out of him a little bit more is maybe a little bit more aggressiveness. If he knows he's going to get a fastball, let's see if he can do something with it. And we've seen that in stretches during the last season and even this year in spring training. I mean, if he knows he's getting his pitch, he can do some damage with it. He's going to get stronger. He's going to grow into a little bit more power. He's still learning the league and adjusting. So, yeah, there's a good reason to have a lot of hope for Stephen Kwan being even better than he was last year and giving them a little bit more productivity out of that leadoff spot.
You know, they already extended Jimenez and Stefan. Who else do you see them extending in the near future? Maybe is he in that equation?
I think he would be at the front of the list of guys that they would want to offer something to. Again, an extension for Stephen Kwan is probably going to be a very team-friendly sort of look. There's no rush right now to have to do that. Obviously, they've got control over him for the next 5 seasons if they want it, but they would probably want to get something done, by this time next year, maybe if that's possible. Tristan McKenzie would have been a guy I would have said would have been ahead of Stephen Kwan in that sort of conversation before the injury. Now that sort of changes things and muddles things, but if he's able to come out and give them 15 to 18 starts this year, depending on when we find out how severe this injury is, we'll have a clear picture of what their thinking might be towards Tristan moving forward.
We saw Karachek kind of run afoul of the pitch clock in the opener. What are your impression, and what do you think the players' impression so far are of all the new rules changes?
I think privately they'll probably say it makes them speed up. It changes the game. It's different. But publicly they'll toe the line. They'll say it's good for the game. It's good to have 2.5 hour games as opposed to 3 hours, and the package on the field is going to look crisper and cleaner and more action, what the fans want. But when Cal Quantrill comes set and the batter isn't in the box and he gets a warning yesterday for you're going too fast, there are still so many bugs that need to be worked out in this, and you've got to give it at least a month of the season before you really sort of lay any real criticism on the league for being so rigid throughout spring training about it.
What are your thoughts personally on them?
I like it. I think the NBA has a shot clock. The NFL has a play clock. You know when those games are going to be done. You know how long they're going to take. Baseball's never had a clock, and it's never had this romantic notion about how you could be there for 3 hours or you could be there all day at the ballpark. Sports writers don't like that. We have deadlines. I'm telling you, this is
I do understand that.
The pitch clock is the greatest thing for a sports writer ever. A 2.5 hour game is the best thing, especially on a getaway day game in Chicago in June when all you want to do is get on the plane and get home. It's not going to be a bad thing. I
didn't realize how much sleep people who cover baseball just have to be prepared to lose throughout the course of a season.
It's a real thing. I spend 6 months of the year recovering from the other 6 months, and then I go and ref basketball during the basketball season. So I wake up late in the afternoon and run around a gym for 3 hours a night.
Now, what grades? What ages are you reffing? Is it youth? Is it adults?
All of them, all the way from third grade girls all the way up to varsity boys.
Cool.
I've done for the last 17 years in
Wow.
in the Cleveland area. So it's a lot of fun. It's everything you think that the parents and the coaches yell at you, they will yell at you.
Oh, yeah.
It's
So we're going to need you to officiate. We've got a 3-point contest between Booby Gibson and Mark Price that we just established earlier in the hour. Are you up for reffing that?
Anytime I can step on the court with Mark Price, 14-year-old Joe would be just it's my dream. My goodness.
Now,
I
are you?
him a little bit candidly because I asked him whether he'd beat Booby Gibson in a 3-point contest, and there was a pause there, and then he started talking about his accomplishments, a 3-point, champion, obviously, and all he's done. So, Mark did not like that I would even question his prowess. So we may need to make that one happen.
I mean,
Joe.
Booby Gibson, a 3-point participant, Mark Price, 2-time 3-point champion. I've got the bobblehead on my shelf to prove it. I mean,
That's exactly right.
Now,
One more question on the rule changes. One of the popular opinions is that, with the way the Guardians kind of slap the ball around, that outlawing the shift is going to be really beneficial for us this season. Do you subscribe to that?
I don't know if it's going to bear out in terms of a lot more runs. You're still going to need to hit home runs. You're still going to need to hit with power to score and be effective in this league. But if you're talking about what these guys do well, we've seen it already. Just in this 4-game series in Seattle, they put pressure on the opposition's defense to make plays. The ball better be where it needs to be. Otherwise, the Guardians are going to score runs against you. So I don't know if the shift, banning the shift is going to impact it in such great numbers that it's going to make a huge difference. But it's going to make the Guardians more able and continue to be able to put that pressure on the defense that Terry Francona loves to see. And we saw it in Seattle over the weekend with the pitch clock, with the way the game's pace is now. Once you get that avalanche started, man, it's just going to keep coming, and those pitchers have to keep delivering. And when the Guardians are in that box, they're going to be able to put the ball in play.
Back to your reffing career.
That's what I wanted to come here and talk about.
Are you quick whistled, or you let the kids play?
Oh well, I got to tell you, after watching the women's championship game yesterday,
that's what made me ask.
The grief that those 3 officials took and continue to take on social media. You think about it; those 3 women worked 20 years to get to that point in their officiating careers. I feel terrible for. They went out there and they called the game the way that they saw that they had to. And the thinking is these are 2 high-level teams that are going to adjust to the way we're calling the game. And neither team made the adjustment. And when that happens, the referees can look bad. They look like they're calling everything. And, what's this? You have to call certain contact. It just has to happen. And, what I took most umbrage with was Kim Mulkey, the LSU coach, out on the court the entire time, making contact with officials. Just that entitlement. I think if Dawn Staley were out on the court and making contact with an official, that might have been viewed a little differently. I got a real problem with that, but the way that the media, the keyboard warriors get on Twitter and they just start criticizing. You're never going to see me criticize an official that's in a game like that, because I understand. I've put air in a whistle before, and everything stops, and everybody looks at you when you put air in that whistle, and you better know what you're talking about. And unless you've done it before, totally. Don't go criticizing them. It's a really tough job.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I want to see you toss Kim Mulkey.
I was just about to say.
Theater.
Well, if she had reached out and grabbed me the way that she grabbed that official on the sideline, there might have been some. It might have been a national incident.
Do you think you could have pulled off that Elton John mixed with Joe Exotic from Tiger King type outfit that she had on?
I probably would have said something to her about it.
Is that alone worth the ejection?
No.
if you think that you can pull that off, go right ahead. I've never seen a coach look that flamboyant on the sideline for a game that I've watched.
I love the passion, but you're right. It's fascinating to see the other side. Like, do you feel that no one was calling it because she is who she is? And I don't know. There's probably some social elements that go into it.
Well, I mean, you've got in that you don't want something like that to decide the game.
Yeah.
Right.
But then on the other hand, you're assessing a technical foul to Caitlin Clark when all she did was bat the ball away. And I understand why they did it, and they're constantly being evaluated on their performance in that way. So, they have to be able to answer to their evaluator and say, why didn't you tee her up when she did that with the ball? Well, I either missed it or I thought it wasn't worthy of a technical foul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, I bet on LSU yesterday solely because of the suit, solely because of the look. So it sold me.
I just have a couple girl crushes on the LSU team, so
I'll tell you, Angel Reese was, and she's handled herself with all the controversy that's come out just in the last 24 hours. She's handled herself pretty well, and I've got to say, if you're going to compliment Caitlin Clark for her competitiveness after doing it in the Elite Eight, then you have to give the same grace to Angel Reese and the way that she celebrated.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's cool that we're all having the conversation too. Women's basketball and what Twitter was even like. People want to weigh in. That's cool. Come
I was
check
just
it out.
talking to my buddy Dave Portnoy about this.
Oh.
Just
Bring it up, bring it up, Chris.
Women's basketball. Good times.
He
Good
ratioed
times
him.
on the old Twitter box.
We'll flex for you, Chris. Basically, Chris replied, and it got way more likes than Dave's call out, calling Reese classless.
That's amazing, right? I don't get it. I love anything like that brings out the passion in sports. And so many people like to just damp it down and say people are classless or whatever else. And it's like, come on, this is what makes sports fun. This is what we want out of our sports. If we don't have that kind of passion, then what are we actually doing out there?
Especially on that stage. Like, those girls probably knew. That was one of the most, I'm willing to bet, watched women's sporting events ever. Not just this year, but ever. So, yeah, hell yeah, you're excited when you win a championship in front of all those people. So I didn't think it was out of line at all.
And a guy like Joe understands what it takes because he's been there with where they come from, right? In terms of you go AAU, you go all these summer. I'm in the middle of it right now with my kids through summer, through all the different leagues.
Oh God, I would love to walk into an AAU gym and see you sitting there with your kid warming up. That would be the ultimate. I would work that game for free, Chris.
There you go. Oh man, I'll tell you what, that is a drag. I'll tell you, those tournaments, you never know what your weekend's going to be. You get 2 games on Saturday, you play for your seed on Sunday, and then you never know if your kid's going to continue. So it is a grind. It is a grind for the parents.
It's a grind for the officials who work 8 games in a day sometimes.
Yeah.
It's
Chris,
pretty crazy.
And the sheer verbal abuse you get from parents. I played AAU, and I was more shocked by the parents than I was the athletes. I was like, you play against some really tough competition, but I was like, these parents are psychotic.
Yeah,
well, we're allowed to be psychotic because we have to pay to see our kid. After we pay thousands of dollars to put them in these stupid leagues, you still pay $20 at the door.
Chris,
I'm gonna yell at guys like Joe.
That's
my God-given right.
Chris, you ever find yourself pulling against your own kids? Because I feel like a couple times growing up, my parents were trying to get the hell out of there.
That's the dirty secret.
And I knew what it was. I was still trying
to say it out loud. That's what you don't understand. You're not a parent yet. You don't ever say that out loud. You keep that to yourself, Nick.
Well, if we go 0 for 3 in pool play, we'll get knocked out, and we don't have to come back on Sunday. Yeah, it saves you.
Yeah, I think my dad thought that.
You're guaranteed 3 games. So after you play your 2 qualifying, and sometimes they do 3 for qualifying. And if you're out, then you're out on Saturday. And that's happened in a couple of tournaments before. So then you get your whole Sunday. No, I never root against my kid is the answer.
That is so funny.
Good answer.
I remember we used to just do sleepovers. That's how checked out the parents were. We just do like 3 kids sleepover. The one parents will take one shift and do the whole day. Then they'll ship them off to the next kid's house. We'll just sleep over the whole weekend. And then, because it is a lot.
Well, if you get in good with the assigners, I learned over the years that you can get either the late games Friday or the early games Saturday, and then you don't have to be there in the middle of the day. You can go and mow your lawn or take your wife out to dinner. But sometimes as you're coming up and you got to pay your dues, you have to work the rough shifts in the middle of the week.
I like that this took a basketball turn for
It
us.
did. It did. Again, I
Should
mean, we
we-
were just talking with Mark Price. Bring us full circle.
Yeah, I know, he really did. Well, let's end on our baseball note, shall we? So I will be seeing you on Friday then.
Obviously, yeah, we'll be there bright and early.
Hey, how does it work with covering the team still? Are they still doing like Zooms to be asking questions, or can you go in the locker room? I haven't even really been in to check.
We pretty much had full clubhouse access last season. We
Okay.
get out on the field before the game and all that. Yeah, the Zooms have pretty much ended. There's still a little bit of it where they'll do
Like a
Tito's
Tito's,
post
yeah.
game stuff so that the radio stations can get the audio for it and all that. But we've had pretty much full access. The BBWAA lets us have that access and make sure they sort of bargain for it with the contracts and all that.
Cool. So you're like back to normal then.
Yeah, for the
Ish.
most part. I think there were a couple of times last year where they kind of wanted us to wear masks once in a while, but by the end of the year, everything was pretty much back to normal.
Now, for those who haven't attended a home opener, both either as a fan or a member of the media, what's that experience like? What's that atmosphere like on opening day versus just your regular Friday, Saturday game in June or July?
Well, the start time is different, and it's a 3-4 o'clock game, and it's again great for the writers because we make our deadlines and you get everything posted, and you're not writing until 11 or 12, and you can get out of there, and it's not bad. But besides that, just being able to see the players in their lockers and that kind of thing for the first time, this will be the first time that they'll be at the ballpark themselves. For a couple of them, for the rookies, they might not even know where to go. A guy like Tim Herron, who just came out and had a fantastic major league debut yesterday. He's going to be asking people, hey, where do I go, and that kind of thing. For the rest of us who've been there a couple of years and know what we're doing, it's just seeing a lot of familiar faces and getting back into the grind of it, knowing that there's 80 more games of this, and you're going to be here all summer long, and just sort of settling into that groove, and it's muscle memory. You know what times things are going to be taking place, and you can anticipate and think ahead of when there are going to be roster moves that they're going to make, and you've got to write stories about that and things. So yeah, but the fun thing is you come to the park every day, and anything can happen. There can be something on the field, there can be something in the stands or in the clubhouse that somebody says something. Every day is sort of a different story, and you get to write it, and it's what makes the job just so wonderful.
Cool. Well, we'll be looking out for more of your stuff this year. Where can people find you?
Cleveland.com/Guardians. That's the best place to find all of my stuff. And I got to give a shout out to Hoynesy because Paul Hoynes has been doing this for 40 years. He's been covering this team, and it is the great joy of my life to be able to work with him closely and call him a friend and a mentor. And I just anything he does is just great. So I just want you to read me, but read Hoynesy because he really knows what's going on. At Joe Noga CLE on Twitter, that's where I post all my stuff, and I love going back and forth with all of you guys and retweeting your stuff. So that's where you find me all during the season.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming in person.
Yeah,
It's
thank
great
you.
when we get an in-studio guest.
I'm 10 minutes up the road. I was just telling Dave, man, anytime you need me here, I can be here.
Awesome. Yeah, a lot of fun. It is so much better in person
Yeah, it's
than
cool.
over StreamYard.
I'm sorry I couldn't
Now
get.
if we can
I
only get
completely
Chris to show up
agree.
every
This
now
is
and
so
again.
much better in person for me.
Yeah, come on, Chris. Boo.
Well,
Boo.
if we get the audio issues fixed for next time, everything will be great. And anytime you need me.
All right. Well, thanks
On
so
the
much.
man, as always, Joe, you are the best.
Thank you.
All right. We'll play a little game of Who Tweeted It next. Thanks so much, Joe.
Good stuff. Always fun to chat a little baseball, especially this time of year. this schedule is so weird to me, and I've seen so much complaining on Twitter, and I think it's warranted, like staying up every night until 10 o'clock. I'm so excited for the Guards to get back in Cleveland so people could kind of get into their own routines, like Joe was talking about, their writer routines, but just a fan routine of, getting home from work, getting Bally's on the TV and watching some Guards.
It's wild how late they have to stay up. That's what I remember the most about college. I was able to shadow in the press box, and I'll be damned if I wasn't there the one game we were up till like 2 a.m. in extra innings.
Poor sports writers. Oh,
no,
I feel so
I'm serious.
bad for them, Gab.
Yeah, because
they go back to back. They don't get to eat. Like you can't miss something, and then someone goes to get something to eat finally for once in their life, or a bathroom break, and then someone hits the play of the game. Like it's wild. You just don't realize behind the scenes, and the home stands, and then they're on the road, and it's like they just.
This is what they studied for in sports writer school. This is what they wanted as their career.
And then what people too don't realize, Gab, is then the game is over and fans leave.
You gotta
but then
finish
it's like
that story,
that's
bro.
when your job starts.
And I've seen the Wi-Fi go out, and I've seen
I've never seen
grown
that.
men throw a tantrum. It's just it's a it can be a tense atmosphere in the press box. I will say.
Was it Joe? Was it Joe?
No, no, I don't even remember. But I remember it went out, and I was having the secondhand anxiety. I was like, oh shit, someone better fix this for this man. He has a deadline.
And there's nothing. That's the worst. Is when you're in a situation there's nothing you can do. Like Wi-Fi's out. I don't work here. I don't know how to fix it. I'm shadowing. I don't know.
Right. So props to him. We'll be looking out for his content, and we got a good long season ahead of us. Hopefully, a lot of W's.
Yeah, definitely, and definitely a lot of W's already.
I feel like it was my fault. Our first L. I would like to say I was listening on the radio, and as soon as Tom Hamilton said something about Karen Check's pants being 3 sizes too small, I feel like that was the lullaby. I just fell asleep, and then of course I woke up the next morning, and I saw the box score, and I was like, no.
Wow.
If only I would have stayed awake, maybe that wouldn't have happened. You get suspicious.
So you're 3-0. Your Guardians record is 3-0.
Yes, then.
You fell asleep. That doesn't count against you. You're 3-0.
Okay. I wonder if this will translate to, well, no, I won't be betting. What am I saying? I will not be betting on baseball this year. I'll be supporting all of you guys.
And we need it. We need the support bad because did you hear about what we got ourselves into?
No, tell me.
So this was just an early morning group chat idea that kind of came about, but we're betting $10 on Guardians money line every day. So over $1,600, and me and Chris are doing 10. I think Dave is doing 25.
Yeah,
Wow.
money bags over there.
That's cool. Is it corrupt if I make my dad secondhand? Yeah, it probably is.
We've already gotten one person fired on these airwaves.
You're
Let's
right.
not do
What I
that.
meant by that was he can do his own thing and be in your guys' group chat, and then I will be completely
Papa
out of it.
Cruz is invited to any group chat that I'm in.
He's basically on the team.
Yeah, he basically is. But no, we need those vibes. And right, if your record holds
I will
true,
be the greatest cheerleader, and you guys will be the greatest of sports bettors.
yeah, we need it. We need it bad. Okay, so do we want to do bets or do we want to do who tweeted it?
Well, let's see what we have time for. We're at, what do we have?
who
We
tweeted
started
it?
around
Who tweeted it?
3:30.
Let's
Why
go.
not? Let's
I've got my read already.
All
let's
right.
roll with it.
We have music.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's toasty in here today.
Just go for it, Chris.
Who Tweeted It is brought to you by ShackNews.com. Shack News, your go-to site for video games and more, with news, guides, previews, and reviews, including this week's featured article reviewing the all-new MLB The Show 2023. And remember that you can join in on all the discussions using the Shack News Cortex and subscribing to their Twitch channel. So if you're a gamer, Shack News is the site for you. Check them out on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch at the handle @CheckNews and @CheckNews.com.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, let's get it started. So this is our first tweet that we have up here. It says, quote, "That's a big opening series. Got a feeling this could be a really fun season. Who do you all think that could be?"
We had a switch out, by the way, too. Because Dave, didn't you start our show?
Yeah, Dave started, and I think we switched to Bohm. I think Dave escorted
welcome-
Joe out of
welcome in.
TSA.
All right. Throw it up there.
Yeah,
One more
throw it
time.
up there one more time. That's a
Oh, and I
big.
can't see it on my end. This is
Oh,
good.
All right,
yeah.
that's a big
opening.
opening series. Got a feeling this could be a really fun season.
Wow, that could be any
That could be
generic
anybody.
guy.
Yeah, that could be my dad.
It definitely gives guy vibes, though, I think.
That whittles it down to about 80% of Twitter.
The second week in a row, I'm going to guess Tony Grossi.
I know. I'm kind of with you on that. Could we get a Grossi on there?
All right. Well,
but I don't know. Only 25 likes.
It's a big opening series. Got a feeling this could be a really
fun season. And who tweeted it is? Chico!
Oh, Chico! Oh, that's funny.
Oh, man.
All right, guys, you want to see what we have next in store? So this next tweet is not from Chico. I will reveal that just to get that out of the way.
Spoiler.
All right. So if San Diego State at +7.5 beats UConn, I'll fly to San Diego, California, and drink Pacific Ocean water.
Oh, we know who this is.
Yeah.
Sir Yacht.
Sir Yacht.
It is, in fact, Sir Yacht.
That's incredible.
Easy,
Well done.
easy.
Wow.
All righty.
That is who tweeted it.
Who
Okay,
tweeted it?
That's it. Okay, that's fun. That's it. That's exciting.
Yeah, see. Gab,
I never-
did you like your first who tweeted it?
I really did because I'm 1 for 2. And that's better than any betting odds I've ever had.
Yeah, we're all batting 500 this one.
Yes.
It's not too bad.
All righty, let's get into some big play bets presented by Tipico. Tipico lets you bet on all the biggest sporting events all year round. That was a hell of a 13-year-old voice crack out of me. Cavs, Guardians, the Masters, and so much more. They're always running cool boosts and promotions over at Tipico. Even though you can't bet on if my voice will crack during this live read, you can bet on all the fun action, baseball every single day like us, $10, Guardians money line every single day, Cavs playoffs right around the corner. Get on the Tipico Sportsbook app to start betting with us. Use that promo code BIGPLAY and you'll get $50. When you deposit $50, you'll get $200 back in bet credits. You got to be 21 years or older to gamble in Ohio. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Did you guys see this? Somebody that signed up with code BIGPLAY tweeted at me last night and this morning. I missed the first one, but I saw the one this morning. That this dude used a $40 bet credit that he got from Tipico from using our link, put together, I think it was a 6-team parlay, bet all overs on NBA games, and turned himself $1,900 on a $40 bet credit. And this dude was thanks for the promo code, thanks for the link, this, that, the other thing. You don't have to thank me. Promo code BIGPLAY, deposit 50, get those free bet credits, and you could be like that guy on Twitter, won $1,900 on the NBA yesterday.
That's awesome.
Incredible. A big day for the overs also. All right, last week's results are in. Good God. Dave was 1-5. Chris was 1-5. I was 1-5.
Hey, I should get more credit for my one, though. I
That's
mean,
pretty
that
cool.
is
That's
really
really
a
good.
pretty solid call. Josh Naylor with the first home run.
Impressive odds on that, Chris.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We should. I don't know. I feel like I should get like some extra bonus points for that one.
We'll give you extra bonus points in our heart. Dave picked SDSU. I picked UConn. We'll see what happens there tonight. Gab, should we look at some bets for this week?
Let's take a look.
Alrighty, Guardians home opener is Friday. Like we mentioned earlier in the show, we are betting $10, me and Chris, every single day on Guards money line. Dave is betting $25 every day on Guards money line. Me and Chris are up $25.42 on the season. Dave, you are up $68.21 on the season. So since we're already betting on the Guards to win literally every single day, let's each pick a player who will get a hit in the opener. Now, if we want to get crazy, you guys could pick a home run. We could pick multiple hits, but the objective here is just to pick one player who will have a hit in the opener on Friday.
Okay. Only one?
That's all you got to
For-
do
I
is
mean,
just
for
pick.
each of us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's each pick any player. This should be easy
That's
in
easy.
theory.
I mean, I feel like you'd be silly not to pick Stephen Kwan.
Okay. I like that.
Very reliable choice.
Very reliable. I also like what Joe said about getting him under contract for a couple more years. That'd be a lot of fun. Quan has definitely quickly turned into one of my favorite players.
Nick, how about a catcher?
Oh, Mike Zunino.
What a game.
What a game. That was a lot of fun. I don't know if I'm that confident yet.
That's fair.
I picked Jose to hit the first home run of the season. I'm going to keep riding with Old Reliable. I think Jose, with those fans behind him at Progressive, Jose Ramirez gets a hit on Friday for sure. Chris, do you have...
I don't know if Chris, he might have left to beat traffic.
Oh, sure. Okay. He Irish goodbye us.
He sure did. Houdini.
All right.
Can you guys still hear me?
There he is. Hey, we got audio.
Oh.
So yeah, audio is good. I just have no visual here. That's really weird. I'm going to go with Oscar Gonzalez.
Oh, good
Okay,
choice, good
SpongeBob.
choice. Yeah, SpongeBob.
Go
is good.
SpongeBob.
I
He's going to be
wonder-
back. He's going to be at home. It's going to be those good vibes spilling over from the playoffs last year. So I'm feeling SpongeBob.
I'm trying to think of the rest of our lineup here.
I know,
I
because
already
there's
put
still
in
some
my
good
one, so.
Yeah, I know, because there's still some good ones. Ahmed.
And you want to pick someone who might you don't think, but will.
I think that's why Dave went with Zanino.
Mm-hmm.
Was that your pick, Zanino?
No, he had a good game, so I'm not gonna stick with him. I will go Quan.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. So Gab and
Two
Dave are
Quans.
on Stephen Kwan. I'm on Jose. Chris is on Oscar Gonzalez. Let's quickly move to Orlando tomorrow, where the Cavs will face the Magic. Surely appointment viewing as we just pretty much count down the days till the Cavs make their postseason debut.
Now, wait just a second. Do these games matter at all? Can we move at all, Nick? Because I haven't really broken it down.
So pretty much no. I mean, it'll take a miracle to go either up any or down any, but still what needs to happen, the magic number for that home court advantage is 1. They need one more win over these next couple games to play home court. So still a big game, so to speak, because that's definitely important for the Cavs as they head to Orlando tomorrow. The spread is up on Tipico. Cavs are favored by 4.5 points. Will the Cavs win by 5 points or more tomorrow in Orlando? Gab?
Yes, totally.
All right. Chris?
I think so. I think they're going to get it going.
I think so too. I think are we all going to go with the cover? Dave, you like the Cavs minus 4.5 tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Love it. Yeah, so we're all going with the cover. I'm with Chris. I think this is the time of the season for the guards. For the Cavs to really hit their stride. Mitchell.
I really love McNeil's tweets. I know I say this every third week, but I liked when you were like, Cavs win, guards win, Browns didn't play today.
That's a great Sunday, isn't it? I mean, that really is.
Yeah, they never get old. Man, you're on fire. Like, how do you do your homework for all these tweets? Like, how do you compute with your life and your brain? Just like, does it take you a while to Photoshop stuff? I have so many deep desires.
Inside
Inside
the mind.
Yeah.
My personal life is an absolute mess. That's the real secret there. You get it all done. And then you have plenty of time to Photoshop, make jokes, and everything else. No, I don't know. It's just you've been
have
around,
a system. You must have a
been around
system.
Cleveland sports for long enough, either laugh or cry. I've chosen to laugh for most of it.
There's brilliance in there, and I know you won't tell us all your secrets, but I really am.
I told you, personal life, total train wreck. Then you'll be fine.
Noted.
Yeah, but he also has a system, to map everything out and to do it quickly or nugget an idea for later. Like I think it's cool.
True.
Chris, what if I have the personal life a mess step down, but the rest of it isn't yet following suit?
Yeah, I wouldn't say my shit's all together. My tweets aren't that high, that aren't that great.
Good, you got step 1. Then we'll talk about step 2 on next week's show.
Yeah, we gotta what is it? Crawl before you walk.
Yeah.
That's
All right. Let's talk about this really quick because the seeding is pretty much set. If they clinch home court advantage on Tuesday, do we think that it's probably time for the Cavs to start resting guys, or do you want to keep going for wins to stay sharp for that postseason debut?
Rest. Come on. You got to be rested. The last thing you want to do is have these guys play and then get hurt. God, I hate even saying it out loud. And knock on wood for that one. But yeah, definitely rest. Figure out your rotations. Keep these guys in rhythm. It's not necessarily, you're going to get into that rest versus rust thing. So you want to make sure you play them just enough. But yeah, don't go all out to win games that don't mean anything other than just a tick in the win column.
Definitely. All right, let's bet on this for tomorrow. Will Donovan Mitchell get 40 points for a 4th consecutive game against the Magic?
Well, we better hope now that we're resting but not rusting. So maybe how about 30 and call it a night?
I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, I'm with Gab so hard on this because Donovan shouldn't have to score 40 to meet the Magic. Like, let's have this dude score, I'll even raise you, 25 and then sit the 4th quarter.
Yep.
So I'm going to go no. Mitchell's not scoring 40.
You know, I'm going to go the opposite way on this. I had a boost last week with Tipico that was like the Cavs win and then Mitchell over 30-something. It was like 35. And everybody was coming at me going, that's a bad bet because Mitchell's not going to play enough. They're going to rest him. And sure enough, he had enough to go over. And then the Cavs ended up losing that ball game. So I didn't hit on that one. But I don't know. I think Mitchell's one of those guys that likes to play. So I think he may play and he may go for that number. And so I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say
all right. Yeah, it was the first time in his career that he scored 40 back to back to back. So maybe he tries to strengthen that personal record one more game. We shall see. The Masters is this weekend, starts Thursday. Let's all pick one golfer who will finish in the top 10. Now, this is a fun bet because your golfer don't even have to win. All the guy has to do is finish in the top 10. Very fun bet to make. They got the odds up on Tipico. Now, obviously, your known guys, your front runners, they're leading this pack with minus odds. You know, Rory minus 125, Scotty minus 130, John Rahm minus 103. Chris, I'm going to kick it right to you. Who do you like? Oh, he bounced, so we'll try to get Chris back. And I know nothing about golf, so Dave,
yes,
who do you like in this top 10 here?
Oh, man. So have you watched Full Swing on Netflix?
Yeah, I've watched a little bit of it, like literally one episode through.
Okay. Gab, have you watched it?
I have not.
It's really good.
Complete one.
Highly recommend. I think baseball should do something similar because it gives these golfers on tour a personality.
Which, golfers notably dry, that's
the sport overall, except for like Happy Gilmore, is like pretty dry sport. I think it's coming around a little bit, but
well, we had that one little T. Who was it who went in the background of somebody else's shot and then said something?
Oh, Brooks Koepka. That guy's a douche.
Now that guy.
We'll wait for that episode.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. So, are you making your pick here, Dave, off of a Netflix series? Is kind of what you're.
No. But I'm just if you don't have a favorite going into it, watch that and you might have one afterwards.
Okay.
Oh, cool. All right, I do like this insight. Fair.
I know Zalatoris used to be your guy last year.
He's kind of fallen off.
He is. He's tapering back here.
And then we've got the Live Tour crew.
Mm-hmm.
Who will be playing in the Masters that everyone hates. So if you want to go with a heel, go with a villain, you go with one of those. So you could go with like Cam,
little WWE just wrapped
You could go
up.
DJ. You could go Brooks. Probably wouldn't recommend it. Chris, are you back?
I am back. Yes,
and better than ever. Chris, who do you like in this top 10?
I know it's a top 10 bet, so they don't have to win, obviously. I like Rory. And you were just talking about the black hat guys, the guys who went to the Live Tour. Rory's one of those guys, the White Knights, who did not do that. So I like him, and I like his game at the end of last season, and I like his chances there at Augusta. So give me Rory in the top 10.
Chris riding with one of the favorites. Now, guys, am I a complete dummy if I want to bet Tiger Woods to finish top 10?
Bet Tiger Woods to make the cut.
Do they have that on here? Okay, well, if they do, yeah, I'll bet that. Tiger Woods' fellow December 30th birthday, me, LeBron, Tiger.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking at some names now. Who did you say? Who was your pick?
I don't really have one.
Oh, okay. You were going to do...
Don't have one. This is making for great radio.
I just don't. I don't know golf at all. Like,
so
honestly,
Scotty Scheffler is
okay, but he's minus 130. I want to go.
Okay, but for him to win on Tipico is plus 860.
Okay, that's cool.
And he could easily win this thing, even though he already won.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at PGA Championship. Here we go. The Masters. Now we're talking.
You know another guy with long odds on here who really likes Augusta? He's a live guy, but Bubba Watson.
Bubba.
Bubba's kind of long odds. He loves
Oh, I
Augusta.
saw-
He
oh,
hasn't
yeah, he's
played
pretty
there
down
very
there.
well the last couple of times, but he could sneak into a top 10.
Okay. Man, Tipico has so many odds on this. You could bet on the top live golfer in this thing. Like
Or you
the
could
top
go, you could go
finishing-
the old man for this. You can go Phil Mickelson.
Ooh, the ultimate heel.
That'd be dope.
Wow, he's in here.
Phil Mickelson.
Wow, yeah, he
he's-
sure is.
That'd be
He's got
cool.
clubs and everything.
Plus 1,400.
So, Chris, I'm looking at top 5 bets on Tipico. So, Scotty's plus 160, Rory's 165. You know, John Rahm is plus 200. He's played really good golf.
He has. He really has. Do you remember him last year in the Memorial? Was it last year? No, it was the year before.
The year before, yeah.
COVID. Yeah. He was leading by like 6 strokes at the Memorial. He gets off the course on Saturday. Rules officials come over and say, you tested positive for COVID.
Oh,
You're
I
done."
forgot about
Oh,
that.
yeah, I was going to actually bring that,
That was
up.
John Rahm.
Who, his last name was what was it?
John Rahm.
I remember that. I felt so bad for that guy. And that's the most invested I've been in golf only because of that incident. I was like, I can't believe that. But then he won something big after that.
He did. And he's been playing very good golf, both before then and then after then. So he'll probably be a top 10. That's a good bet right there. But I think the odds are pretty short on that.
I just bet Tiger Woods to win the Masters.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
There you go. Classic.
Way to listen, Nick.
$5
I can't wait for my Fade Padone shirt to get here.
$5 pays $355.
Okay.
Riding with the
You
GOAT.
pay $2.5 million. It doesn't matter, Nick.
Tiger
It
is
ain't-
the GOAT. He's winning.
Yeah.
All right, what do you say we call it a show?
Yeah, is that all our bets?
Yeah.
Great job, gang. We had 2 really nice interviews and some bets that we'll see how bad, Nick, you tank
Sure
or
to
not
go
with
wrong.
that Tiger Woods.
See you on the other end of 355 bones.
All right. Well, that's a wrap, gang. Be sure to check out Tipico, download that app, and win some money. Use the code Big Play.
Yeah. Code Big Play. Be a success story. $40, one dude, $1,900.
$1,900.
Crazy.
I would like to be
Crazy.
that
And
person next.
Legend.
We'll see you next Monday.
It's time! Streaming live from Cleveland, Ohio! Presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world, The Big Play Reflog Show!